we're going to talk about today is legal information. Don't rely upon this information, and please consult a licensed professional, legal professional, before you take steps or do something about the topics that we're going to cover today. The topic that we're going to cover today is that we're going to review high traffic workplaces, including pubs, airlines, Formula One, um, uh, meat packaging plan, and that's an interesting case, and pubs. And what are they doing, or what are they supposed to do to prevent the spread of COVID-19? We're going to split this presentation in two. One is the legal framework. I'm not going to mention even sections, but I'm going to state the principles that are behind preventing the spread of infectious diseases, basically health and safety in the workplace. And then we'll move to mass traffic workplaces, the cases that we have, and I'm going to share with you some resources. But let's start with the framework. In this framework, there are two sides of the same coin. One is the employer's responsibilities, and the other ones are also the workers' also responsibilities, but it's more the work refusal that we want to talk about in the other side of the coin. For the employer's side, the framework usually is provide, maintain, and make sure workers use equipment, materials, and protective devices. This expression is very important because the remote work there, the buzzing word there is the personal protective equipment. So this is health and safety equipment, and protective devices are a responsibility for the employer to provide, to maintain, and to make sure they use it. And also, the employer has to make sure that the things that the employer is putting in place, the employees are following, the workers are following those measures and procedures, because the employer does absolutely nothing by just telling the employers what to do, but there is no supervision about that procedure and measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Other things are inform, instruct, and supervise workers that they're doing what they're supposed to do. If there is an spread, or not just COVID-19 in general, an injury or illness, sickness caused during working, the employer or the representative of that employer is supposed to inform the MD or the nurse or the person in the hospital where the employee is transferred to for the sickness. And I highlighted, not just in bold letters, but also with a yellow color in the background, take every precaution reasonable in the circumstances for the protection of the worker. And this is important because it opens up, it's very broad. That expression, every precaution reasonable, is very broad, but it's the precautionary principle in health and safety, occupational health and safety. And in one of the cases, and I highlighted in the cases as well, you're going to see why this every precaution reasonable is so important. The other side of the coin, so those are the duties of the employer: provide equipment, maintain the equipment in a that they can be used safely, tell the workers what the procedures are, and make sure that the employees actually use the equipment and comply with the procedure. On the flip side, workers have the right to refuse to work in general. So I'm not going to work. I'm not going to go even to the office. I'm not going to go to the plant. I'm not going to go to the facilities or a specific task. I'm not going to do these tasks that you're requesting me to do. So they can do. The employee has that right. If there are dangerous circumstances, so there are things in the workplace that are likely to endanger workers because of equipment, machine, devices, the physical condition of the workplace, or violence. With the physical condition of the workplace is what's actually bothering employees and workers, and where these fearness of returning to work falls in place. The thing with work refusals is that it is a very short period of time measure to remove the dangerous circumstance, to to let the employer take the steps to remove the dangerous circumstances. So if an employer is doing everything within reason to prevent the spread of COVID-19, based on the nature of the workplace, barriers, masks, physical distancing, increased hygiene, and cleansing, then why is the employee refusing to go back to work? So we have a podcast, Working Progress, and one of the episodes is Work Refusals, precisely. And my friend and I, both of us employment lawyers, we talk about that. It's free to access. I'll share with you the link when we finish. All right, mass traffic workplaces. This is the fun part. All right, here we go. Flights. With flights, this is what it was the first few months of COVID-19, the early months in 2020. And you can see that there is a policy of physical distancing there. Did it work? Did it work? I mean, that was the measure that the flights were taking. Today, this is from the Air Canada website and other airlines. The measures that they are taking, I group them in three. I mean, there are many measures that they're taking, but I group them in three. Enhanced cleaning, and there is something in particular here. So they're using, for enhanced cleaning, stronger disinfectants. They're cleaning more often than before. They're using filters with a particular quality grade. And they're also using fogging. You're going to see a picture of a fogging machine gun in the next slide. These are measures for cleaning. What are the measures in the procedures that they have when passengers are going in? No contact at check-in or reduced contact, asking health questions, and that's Transfer Canada, temperature check without contact, and provide mask to wear and sanitation wipes when they go in the plane. And also, so not just the procedure for processing the, not just the procedure for processing the, not just the, sorry, not just the procedure to get the passengers in, but once you are in, what services is the airline providing? Those are also modified. And I mention all of this for you to think about, well, based on the nature of the business where I'm working or that I run, one of these things apply to my business? Do I have traffic there? How is that traffic? What's the type of contact that I have with customers and peer-to-peer, worker-to-worker, and so on? Those are questions that I have in mind when these happen. The reality today, and I'm gonna read Angie's comment. They're giving you a package with hand sanitizer, a mask, gloves, and wipes. So they're taking those measures. Thank you, Angie, for sharing with us your recent experience flying. Masks are gonna be there. That whole package of cleaning your own space is gonna be there. Services are gonna be different, and the fogging machine. The fogging machine or gun, I don't see it often in non-flying businesses. Non-flying businesses. Huh, interesting. All right. My favorite one, Formula One. This was Formula One before. Look at all the fans. Look at all the engineers. Look at the TV. Very close to each other. Cameras around. It is a fantastic entertainment. However, with COVID-19, they had to reorganize all of this. They focus on regular testing. That's their approach. If you see, I have a spreadsheet of all these measures, and you're gonna see what are these different industries focusing on. It seems that Formula One is focusing on regular testing and bubbles. So bubbles, so people, so regular testing and close events and minimum personnel. I mean, like, I'm not gonna go through all of them, but it's interesting to see that for Formula One, the most important thing is testing, testing, testing. People is traveling on particular groups. They're not contacting members of the public. The groups that travel together stay together in the event. They have private medical teams taking tests every 5 days, uh, and others. So this is what Formula One looks like now. No fans. You can see here mask and shield, plastic shield. All of them walk around with masks. This is an interview. These are team directors, different teams, and they're separated, and they're using masks. And the TV hosts are using masks as well. And you will have signage all over the place. That's Formula One now. They're racing the third Grand Prix this week. I'm happy about that, and they're doing well so far. Canada, the Alberta meat packaging plant, Cargill. This was on May 6, 2020. Newspapers reported and broadcast. They reported the largest outbreak in North America. May 6 happened in Alberta. I'm not going to go through the details of what they did wrong or what they did right. It's COVID-19 is new, but you can see all these people in the right and in the middle walking together to having lunch, to come back from break rooms, to go to locker rooms, and so on. And there is no physical distancing whatsoever. And on the left side of the screen, you will see that they are cutting the meat, and there is no masks, no barriers, basically no measures. But this is a picture probably from before COVID-19. Once COVID-19 hit, they took these measures. Screening, this is what they focus on: screening, barriers, bubbles, and education and awareness. What I say with bubbles is 2 people per car accessing facilities, prohibited unnecessary visitors, and increase available space in break rooms. One thing that they realized is that all these employees were working together. All these employees that work together usually live in the same building with family and friends, and they got together after work. So it wasn't just what was happening in the workplace, but also the relationship of all these workers outside the workplace that affected the meat packaging plant as well, not just the internal circumstances. And on May 7, so that was May 6, where they were declared the largest outbreak in North America. By May 6, probably that changed. But on May 7, they put in their website that the health and safety of their employees and workers was their priority. And now you see that there is a mask, there is a plastic barrier. They also have different spaces for break rooms, including outside break rooms for having lunch and create more spaces and physical distancing. However, what happened? Class action lawsuit alleges meat packer failed to take coronavirus precautions in Alberta. And the allegations include reasonable precautions. It's interesting. I mean, the argument is a little bit stretched, because in the argument, the lawyers are saying that because Cargill didn't take reasonable precautions, family members of these workers got COVID-19, and some of them passed away. I mean, whether it will work or not, but now this meat packaging plant is facing a class action lawsuit that is about to be certified. We'll see. But reasonable precautions, that's part of the argument. Pubs. This is our last example. Pubs. I miss pubs, and this was before. Everybody crowded, everybody rushing. I mean, staff. With pubs and restaurants, I'm a little bit sympathetic, because because of the type of service they have, there are a lot of things that they have to do. There are a lot of things that they need to put in place that they didn't have before to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Table reservations, screening questions, wait outside or in vehicles, mark floors to facilitate physical distancing, and so on. And the facility will have signage, educate the patrons, closing alternate urinals, hand hygiene, and so on. But it's not just this, it's also this. Service. How are you gonna provide service? Contactless payment, that's something that we're seeing more regular, more often than not. And it seems to be a business now that it's booming, contactless payment, physical distancing in the room, uh, the both from people and a group of people and staff to people, prepackaged food, and so on. Entertainment, no dancing, no dancing, no karaoke, no water pipes, shisha or hookah is permitted. And this is what it will look like somehow now. Um, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. Signage. I want you to notice here, flights, Formula One, meat packaging, and pubs. Screening. All of them, to a certain extent, have screening, whether temperature or questions or testing, like in Formula One. Cleaning. But for Formula One, it's not that Formula One doesn't have it, but probably the track, the race track is the one who has the responsibility for the cleaning. But all of them have increased sanitation. All of them have some sort of increased sanitation, not just in how many times you do it, but also how many places are you going to be cleaning. Testing, Formula One. The other ones don't have testing, and there is a reason for that, legally speaking. We're not going to go there, but I see where they come from. Bubbles and distancing. All of them, in certain way, they have bubbles or physical distancing. Another couple of points that I want to mention, hygiene and personal protective equipments. Again, Formula One may not be responsible, but teams are responsible for that. They do have hygienes and PPEs. And pubs, meat packaging, and flights, they have hygiene and PPEs. And other type of measures include changing your services if you need to do that, or raising awareness somehow, educating customers, contactless payment, and so on. So you can see that there is a similarity in all the measures that they're taking, even though it changes a little bit. As resources, you have these podcasts again, but one thing that I can share with you why I would say why we don't feel that comfortable yet is not so much because of the knowledge piece, because now we're talking about PPEs, we're talking about hand sanitizers, we're talking about physical distancing, we're talking about signage. We know what those are. I think that what is missing is the processes in place. Do you have a health and safety policy? Specifically for infectious diseases like COVID-19? Yes, no. If you don't have it, you're going to feel insecure. Do you have a health and safety representative or a health and safety committee, joint health and safety committee? Yes or no? If you don't have it, you're going to feel a little bit more insecure. Have you provided training to your supervisors about how to control health and safety? Yes or no? If the answer is no, you're going to feel a little bit more insecure. Have you educated your employees and workers? Yes or no? If you haven't educated your employees, then you're going to feel a little bit more insecure. So I think that these are the reasons why we feel more insecure than not. If we control these 4 or 5 steps, 5 questions and we turn those no to yeses, we're going to feel way more secure. Another thing that I can share with you is we're about to reopen stage three. Well, we're gonna move to stage three. An idea for businesses and employees and workers is to align how we're moving forward in reopening with government's strategies. And I've seen um, widely that businesses and employees and workers, most of them are trying to align with government's strategies. However, one thing that they're going to be paying attention in stage three is the health and safety of the public and workers, not just public, but workers as well. So the more cases, and we know this is very intuitive, the more cases we get, closing down will be an option again. The less cases we see, we're going to move back or to the next new normal that we're expecting. Thank you for sharing your lunch with me today. It's been great, and promoting controlling outbreaks is important for all of us in the workplace. We want a strong economy roaring back. Um, Thank you, everyone.